What we're going to do today, we're going to look at doing our scientific notation with a calculator. Specifically, I'm going to do it with Desmos rather than the yellow ones. If you've ever seen on the yellow ones where you get like the E on them, where you get like a decimal followed by like an E and then a number, that's the scientific notation. That's how they show it on the yellow calculators. I'm just going to show you with Desmos. It looks a little bit more like we're used to seeing, so works a little bit more that way. All right, so let's start with what we got right here. We got the area of the Pacific Ocean is, what we got there, 63,780,000 square miles. The Atlantic Ocean is 2.27 times 10 to the 7th square miles smaller than the Pacific Ocean. We need the area of the Atlantic Ocean written in scientific notation. So what we need to do is we're looking at this. First, we have to figure out always what kind of math are we doing, okay? So when we look at the problem, it says the Atlantic Ocean is smaller. So if it's smaller, what kind of math are we probably doing here? Subtraction. So we got to subtract these two numbers, right? So look, I'm going to go to Desmos, and I'm going to subtract those two numbers. I'm going to start with my Pacific Ocean number. I've got the 63,780,000. Desmos, another reason I like using the Desmos for this, while we don't have the commas in there, you notice Desmos puts little spaces in there. It makes it a little bit easier to see, right? And we're subtracting. You've noticed on a lot of these problems, they put parentheses around the scientific notation, right? Do you necessarily have to do that? No, but it sometimes makes it a little easier to see, so it's sometimes a little helpful. So we got 2.27. Now where it gets a little tougher, you can't just put the X, because on Desmos, X is your variable, okay? So you got two options for the multiplication sign. For the multiplication sign, you can click the little keyboard, and you can click the multiplication symbol. Or, when you're typing, you can press Shift and 8. Shift and 8 is the asterisk key, and it makes the dot for multiplication. And then times 10. And to get your exponent, again, there's two ways you can do this. You can either hit A with the exponent of B, or you can do Shift and the 6 key. Shift 6, that little triangle looking symbol, is how you do the exponents. But if you hit the AB right here, it does your exponent. And my exponent here was a 7. And you see it gives me a number there, right? Now here's the problem. I've got that number right there. That is 41,080,000. Okay? If I go back to the problem though, it says in scientific notation. All right, so we gotta make a change, don't we? So that's the one problem. The calculator helps, it does the math for me, but I still gotta do another step. So I had my 41,080,000. I got that from Desmos. All right, so if I want to make that scientific notation, where's my decimal go? Between the 4 and the 1. So when I make that scientific notation, I got 4.1, and I got to include any non-zero. So I got to include all the way to that 8, right? And I got to include that 0 because it's in between them, okay? Everybody clear on that? That 0 gets included since it's in the middle. And I got times 10, and my exponent's got to include all of those, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's my answer. Okay? Everybody good with that? Any questions on that? We make our single digit number, and then we count everything after the decimal. That's our exponent. All right, y'all go ahead and try that on Desmos. All right, so this one does give you the answer as scientific notation. You got to get bigger numbers for it to do that. The other one wasn't quite big enough. All right, so when we go to Desmos, we're going to have a division problem that looks like a fraction. So I got 3.5 times 10 to the negative fourth on top. All right. Everybody good with that? On my bottom number, I had 2 times 10 to the 8th. Nice and easy, right? We just got to be able to enter it in correctly.
How did you get the fraction line?
To get the fraction line, it's just the slash.
To get the 10 to the, you use the AB or AB?
So look, if we put the 10 in, if you put the A2, that's just going to put, oh, sorry, I hit the AB. If you put the 10 in and you hit the A2, it's only going to put a 2 as your exponent. That's only going to square it. The AB is where you could put in any exponent you want.
How do you get the dot again?
The dot is your multiplication symbol, so you can either click this button here for the multiplication, or you can do Shift and the 8 key, the asterisk button, basically. Any other questions on that one? All right, so let's look at another one then. All right, so we got the mass of Earth. It's kind of neat or interesting, I guess, that they can always kind of calculate or estimate those. But we have the estimated mass of Earth, and they can even estimate the mass of the sun, saying it's 333,000 times greater than the Earth's mass. So if it's 333,000 times greater, what type of math are we doing? Multiplication. So we got to multiply those two numbers together. All right, so go ahead and give that a try. Multiply those two numbers together. Tell you right away, this is going to be a big number, all right? This one does get like rounded maybe a little bit because this is approximate. Quan, what you got?
1.7927927922.
No. You divided there. Keller?
1.98801 times 10 to the power of 8.
All right, so we're going to want to multiply. Close. We got 5.97 times 10 to the 24th power. That's our mass of the Earth. Like I said, we can put it in parentheses. That sometimes is going to make it look a little nicer or separate it a little bit more. And we're multiplying by the 333,000 for the mass or the times bigger. All right, everybody good on that one? All right, so we got this one, mass of Jupiter and the mass of Neptune. It's asking how many Neptunes would equal the mass of Jupiter. What kind of math are we going to do here? Look at it. Division. We're seeing how many Neptunes could go into Jupiter, right? Now this one's saying about, so just the whole number will be okay on this one. Nevaeh, what you got? 18's correct. Big thing on this one is the order. You're going to want to put the bigger number first. Which one's bigger, Jupiter or Neptune? Jupiter. How do we know Jupiter's bigger? Because of the number. You're right, but specifically which number? 27, the exponent, right? We look at the exponents. The exponents tell us which one's bigger. So 27 is bigger than 26. Also, I mean, the way it's phrased, we're seeing how many Neptunes equal Jupiter. So Jupiter's the bigger one. So when we're dividing it up, we want Jupiter to go first. Okay? Everybody see how this works? Y'all, Desmos isn't magical, okay? We still got to enter things in correctly. We still got to make sure we're doing the right math. It's going to help a lot, though, ain't it?